the 7 deadly sins, the 7 natural wonders of the world, and I looked it up, the 7 most eaten vegetables in the world, of which potatoes are number 1. Today I want to speak to you about 7 mistakes to avoid in your career in 2022 and even avoid them after 2022. The first one is not challenging the status quo, not challenging the way things are working right now in your department or in the organization. A few months ago, we did an interview and we had 2 very strong candidates for the job. We asked the question, what would you do differently if you would start in this role? Candidate number 1 said nothing because everything is working really well already. And candidate number 2 had 2 ideas. Guess who got the job? Candidate number 2. Why? Because even if the ideas are not perfect or still need work or we won't even use it, organizations are looking for people who bring in new ideas within the organization. Like it or not, the world is changing all the time. The markets are changing and organizations need to adapt. People who are successful in their careers are people who are able to bring in new ideas into the organization. The second mistake to avoid is not building sponsors. Sponsors are people in the organization who would champion you. They would advocate for you. So they would be the ones who put your name forward for a position or an award when you are not in the room. Having 2 to 3 sponsors in your career and in your organization at the moment will help you progress your career. I'm very passionate about mistake number 3. Why? Because I've made this mistake myself, and that is not being visible enough. People are crazy busy, just like you and me. They have back-to-back meetings, they have projects that are very important to them, it takes all their time. They don't have the time or energy to know what you're doing without you telling them. It is important that you tell people in the organization what you're doing well, what you're working on, and what the impact of your projects are. Like I always say, your work doesn't have vocal cords. It actually can't speak for itself. You will have to do that. The 4th mistake to avoid this year is not leveraging the relationships you have. And this is a shout out to all the introverts and women out there. In their book, How Women Rise, the authors share that women build relationships very well, but don't tend to leverage it. In other words, they don't make it productive and they don't make it work for them. They don't use their relationships. So the relationships you already have within the organization, this year, focus on making them more productive and leveraging them. What can you get out of it? How can those relationships help you on your projects to make it even better? So it's not only building relationships, but actually leveraging it as well. The 5th mistake is not learning anymore. In the 2007-2008 financial crisis, the term too big to fail started to circulate. And it refers to companies where governments can't allow them to fail. But I think it also refers to us in our careers. In our careers, as we progress and as we get more successful, it is easy to believe that we are too big to fail and we stop learning. Always be learning. There's always new models, new ways of doing things that come into the organization, and we need to keep learning. The 6th mistake is not having balance, and this is one I made myself as well. In 2016, the World Health Organization did a study, and they found that 745,000 people died that year due to stroke and heart disease. This means 750,000 people died in 2016 because they worked too much. And that was 5-6 years ago. Can you imagine what that number is now? Having balance and knowing when to rest and when to renew will actually help you progress in your career. Because when we are tired and distracted and can't focus, we are unproductive. We are just not working at our highest potential. We're not contributing at the right level. So it is critical for your career that you know when to rest and how to renew. The 7th mistake to avoid is being unable to change. Lucky number 7. The world is changing constantly. If we don't change with it, if we're not open to new ideas, the ship sails without us, people leave without us, and we are being left behind. We do not have the luxury anymore to not like change. We need to get going with it. There you go. The 7 mistakes to avoid in 2022 and beyond, I would say. Have the best week. Bye for now.